Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammad Hassan. I'm working as DevOps engineer. Guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how we can add multiple Kubernetes cluster in Argo CD, right? And we are going to also see how we can add Helm charts and link those our custom Helm chart policies in Argo CD. So let's begin. So we need to have two Argo. We need to have at least two Kubernetes clusters. So what I've done, I've created a script for you guys, and in this particular repo, I've added this script. For kind multi-cluster shell, you need to have either, remote server, or definitely you can use your local VM, either set up by using VMware or VirtualBox. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a shell into my Ubuntu box, right? So to create this environment where we have to find cluster setup, and then I'm going to run this particular script. What this script does, it is going to install Gitlab Helm and other stuff like find latest version. Along with that, we are going to use 1.25 Kubernetes version, right? So let's do that. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to say nano kind dot sa kind multi-cluster.shell. So we need to have at least two cluster for this demo. If I do manually, it will take some time. So I'm going to show you what script does. Till then, what I'm going to do, I need to run this particular script to make sure everything is available and running. And it paste there, press Control S and X. So I'm going to make this guy executable, right? And it more plus X kind cluster side. Okay, so let me show you the distro as well, cat etc what's the release. So you can all set up this. Sorry, I should not type this tilt. So, and you can do Control E and do tab. So this is the release which we're using, 1.22 LTS Jammy Jellyfish. So and now I'm going to simply run this particular script. So and let it run in debug mode, and so you will be able to see the stuff regarding the installation. So what it does, you see, instead of showing you the actual file, what it is currently doing, it is doing the installation of Docker and Docker Compose, right? So definitely it will take some time. It is going to pull that particular official script by provided the Docker. It is going to install Docker and Docker Compose on it. Then what it does, let me show you from the console. Remove this guy. So then it is going to simply set up the kubectl installation, latest version, Helm installation, right? We needed client installation. We need to have two clusters. So this is, I think, the latest version of client. It is going to install on this particular Linux AMD 64-bit operating system. Make this guy executable, and then we're going to set up our cluster number one, which is going to be this configuration, and it is going to be available on this particular port, right? And the second cluster is going to set up with this particular script, right? And it is going to be available on this particular port, right? So we are setting up this, and the configuration of both, or I should say, the context file for both cluster is going to be available on this .cube/config, which is going to be available on our system. So this will take a while. Till then, I'm going to pause the video, and I will be back with you guys shortly once everything is set up. So guys, if you see, two of the cluster actually has spun up by this script. So if I do kubectl get nodes, right? Okay. So this one cluster is ready. If I do kubectl config get context, so kubectl config, if I'm not wrong, but commands have already context, I think. Yep. So you see, we have two clusters available for this demo. So the installation of Argo CD, I've already shown you guys in my previous videos. I do recommend to install Argo CD with help in highly available mode, which is also mentioned here. I mean, the installation, but as this is the demo, right? So I'm going to simply copy this command, which is going to be known as the setup. And currently we have this context. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the context number one client cluster. So if I do kubectl okay, I guess I forget the So let me just bring this guy, use the context. It has use context, so config use context. So we need to copy this command, config use context. So you can use the help command as well, but I don't have much time regarding the time of this particular video. So context, we are looking to use this context, right? So let's quickly do that. And you see, we are now switched to this particular context. So if I do nodes, and if I do get, okay, get context. So you see, now we are switched, right? So guys, not now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this particular command, and I'm going to paste it here. It is going to create a namespace Argo CD, and it is going to simply set up the um, set up RBAC and everything secrets with Argo CD. So what I'm going to do, simply I'm going to bring this guy on my on my lens, and what you need to do, simply copy this config. Regarding lens, I do have videos, right? You can watch those particular videos. So copy this config, right? So and till here, right? And open a lens. So initially it's going to give error because we have not actually done the SSH channeling code forwarding to these particular ports, but I'm going to shortly do that. So till then, I'm going to open another shell on my terminal, which is going to be available on my local machine. So what you need to do, open the lens. I think I already have opened it. So okay, I'm going to simply post this, paste this particular guy here and save it. Connection is not going to work. Let me show you that because we don't have done the SSH tunneling to this particular machine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, well, if config.me, the IP address of my machine is this one. So I'm going to do press Control C here, and if I do SSH hyphen NL, right, and okay, so let me simply do 8443 and 0.0.0 on every base. 8443 cloud underscore user, and I'm going to paste the IP address. It's going to ask the password. If you are using the um, file here, you can do that with hyphen I as well. So I'm going to do the similar stuff. Similar commands. So SSH 8444. So let's do that. And you need to have similar sort of stuff. Definitely you can use your VMs as well, local VMs. So I'm using a remote VM. That's why I need to do this SSH journaling, right? So here's this guy, and there is some typo, and let's try to fix it. So I do have okay, cloud underscore user. So yeah, issue is that this flag is not there, and it is going to ask me a password for that particular machine. So let me show you the stuff. You see previously it was has error. One of the machine is connected, and you will see, and the Argo CD is going to be available in this particular machine. So and then if I click this other guy and let's try to connect with this guy. So you see both are clustered now connected. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply show you guys the Argo CD in cluster number one, right? And other than that, uh, you need to have Argo CD installed regarding the creation of a new cluster. So let's first of all see the Argo CD. So I need to wait for a while regarding my cluster to available. So one of the cluster you see is available. This is the cluster. We don't have Argo CD in the second cluster, and you see this kindly this cluster two. And if I try to access this guy, so sometime it will take some time. And let me to disconnect. And let's try to connect again. Okay, so now we are connected with this guy. So if I click the ports in the namespace Argo CD, you see everything seems to be as provision for us. If I do navigate to services, and if I click this server, I'm going to do open local machine. So I'm going to say 8095. I press this particular guy, and what it does, it is going to do port forwarding on our host machine. So I don't have password right now, so I'm going to show you how you can get that particular password. So click advanced and continue. Right. So okay, let's try to close this guy and bring this guy on the same tab just next to your existing one. So I've done exactly that, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to navigate to the section and just here click on pick secrets, and initial admin password is this one. This is base64 encoding. Just to inform you, this is just encoding, not encryption. Okay, so I just need to wait for a while, and sometimes do because of network, you need to do stop and start the port forwarding again, and let's try to reload again. So hopefully this guy will be back, and I'm going to say proceed, and I need to provide that in password. This is going to be admin, and username is going to be admin, and password I'm going to put it here shortly, right? So this is the user interface of Argo CD. Currently, we don't have any cluster. We have only by default a single cluster which it has spin up. We need to add additional cluster. This is the part of this demo. So if I navigate to the settings, the cluster, you see by default we have this local cluster. We need to add one. And so this is the machine where we have done SSH. So now what we are going to do, we need to install the Argo CD CLI, right? So if I scroll it down, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to install the Argo CD CLI. So this is how you can simply copy this particular command and install the Argo CD. I'm using that particular server, right, to install the Argo CD CLI. It will take a while, and Argo CD is going to be available for us. Then what we're going to do, okay, and if you want to have a specific version of Argo CD, you can do this way, but we are going to use the latest version. And then we are going to do port forwarding to local to, on that particular machine. So instead of creating new shell, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a tmux session here. It is just like session inside your machine, just like a screen is another tool to do that. So I'm going to say tmux new, right? And session is going to be, let's say, call this session number one, and to my machine, right? In order to access that particular Argo CD, which we have done through UI, and I'm going to do this way from CLI. So press Control B, release, and press D now. So now what we're going to do, so we are going to copy this particular command Argo CD login localhost, and we are going to simply, you see, 8091 is now, available on our machine. So if I do go telnet, telnet to localhost 8091, right? So you see we are connected. All right, so let's try to simply copy this particular command, and it's going to ask for the username and password. We know that if I click this guy here and secrets initial admin password, I'm going to provide the same. um, Copy this guy and paste it here. Okay, I should press enter. So let me do login again. Now paste it. All right, we have successfully logged in. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to copy the context, right, on my host machine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the context, right, so which is available here, right, and I'm going to paste it here. Why we are doing it? Let me show you that stuff. So if I do docker ps, right, and if I do docker inspect of this particular container, although because this Kubernetes cluster is running in a container, right, and this is the CloudGeeks local one, and where we have Argo CD setup, CloudGeeks local 2 cluster, and I'm going to do inspect on to this particular guy, and the IP address of this particular is container is this machine of this Kubernetes cluster is this one. So what I'm going to do, I've already copied it. I'm going to do nano config, right? And if you see the cluster number 2 with this address. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply update some of the stuff here. Like port is going to be, we are trying to access that particular cluster directly. So port is going to be 6443, which I'm going to show you, and this is the default. And I need to paste this guy, right? And press Control X, S and X, save it. So if you just scroll up a little up here and show you the stuff here, right? So you see this is port, um, this is the host. So okay, so you see this is the 6443 exposed port to that particular guy. So now what we are going to do, we have set up our config. So simply what we are going to do, add Argo CD cluster. You see currently we have one cluster here, and let's try to add this particular cluster. So I'm going to use this command Argo CD cluster add. We have already logged in with our cluster, and if I do history, right? So history, we have run these particular commands. So regarding the config, get context, this command number 20. Right? So instead of copying this, I'm going to simply press this guy, and I'm going to provide the cluster name. This is the one which I need to add, and dash dash uh, cube config, right? And the cube config of this is we have populated on our machine. So let's simply type this guy, and let's try to add this guy. It's going to ask us that you want to continue. It is going to read the service content Arbit. So let's try. So seems like the cluster is added here. If I do navigate to this guy, try to refresh, we should be able to see at least, definitely 2 cluster. one is default, and the second one, this one we have added. So this cluster has now been added, and this part is done. Now what we're going to do, we are going to navigate to the other part of our video, to how to add Helm repos. So for that, what I've done, I've added the stuff in the same readme MD. So Helm Argo CD repo with GitLab. So I've already used this particular repo, and this is also publicly available, right? And for that, what we need to have, we need to set up the Argo CD token, right? And we are going to do that. So regarding that, if you want to see the official link, how you can add those Helm repos and push to your custom Helm repos. So this is the official link. You can visit. All the commands actually are taken from here. You can use, you can read more about how to do this in your CI/CD part as well. But this demo is, we are going to make things simple, right? So we need to create token here. So regarding the creation of token, this is the first step. So project ID of this repo is not this one. So let me open this guy in another tab. Okay, if I okay. So regarding the project ID, you see, for instance, this is the repo. This is the project ID. So first of all, what we're going to do, we are going to create access tokens. So you need to definitely narrow down the scope of tokens. So as this is the demo, I'm going to simply check all these um, security stuff regarding registry and all this stuff. Excuse me. Then I'm going to update the role here. I mean, it should not be like guest one, so it should be owner, right? And then I'm going to say that let's call this Helm, all right, and um, create a project token. I'm going to simply remove this token after the studio. So we have this token, right? So now what we are going to do. So if I you need to make sure that you should not, I mean, you should copy this particular or guide to your text editor, right? So to make sure this, I mean, once you go away from this tab, and this token is not going to be available, right? So scroll it down where we are looking to add the Helm repositories, right? So this is the area, right? So we have Helm token available. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply copy this particular command. By the way, this command is already available in the official area, which I've already shown you guys, right? See, this is the command, we are actually copying it, and this is the default. I just modified it. We are going to modify this particular because we are using the GitLab example. So let me modify this guy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this guy in my VX code. So this is my sandbox directory. I'm going to open VS Code here, right? So let's do that. So click, I'm going to click this guy here. I'm looking to create one file, and I'm going to call this helm.txt, right? So just create this particular file. You need to simply paste the stuff which we have copied. So channel, let's say you can give this channel name stable, right? It's totally up to you what name you want to give. I'm going to call this table. So packages, right, and the project ID, as it's shown you, I need to pick the project ID from where I'm going to pick this project ID. So this is the token area, right? And if I scroll up, let me do scroll up here. Press Control V here, and I'm going to update this guy here by simply removing the example.com. Here you have your if you have a custom domain set up with GitLab, your custom GitLab, you can do that. So now this is the username. Username is going to be the Argo CD, from which we have created the name of the token, Argo CD, and password is going to be that particular token. So let me simply copy that particular token from here. So this guy I've already copied. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this project. Not going to call this project one. I'm going to call this DevOps project. Okay, project one. So let's try to okay, let's try to copy this guy. I'm going to do copy here, and I just want to make sure that I do have access to this particular repository. So I'm going to extract into my container, which is this sandbox running on my machine. Right. So let's do that. So I'm going to run this particular command. You see, DevOps project has been added to your repositories. So if I scroll up, I mean, if I navigate back to the area here, okay. So Let me show you. Let me scroll the bar. So, okay, and so, okay, so let me, okay, you need to make sure you should have a plugin available. For instance, I need to install this Helm push plugin. You see how we can do that. So you can simply copy this particular command. You need to make sure Helm is already installed into your machine. So I'm using containers, so I've already have Helm installed into my container. Let's try to simply install this plugin by using this command, and I've done the paste here. It is going to install this Helm push plugin. You should have this plugin available. Then what we are going to do, right? We are going to first of all create a demo Helm chart, right? And then we are going to push that particular chart to our packages area. So regarding the packages area, let me show you. If you navigate to the deploy, right, and package registry, right. So currently we don't have anything here, right. So let's see the status of this plugin. This plugin is now installed. I mean, what we are going to do now, I'm going to simply create one Helm chart. Helm create. Let's say I'm going to call this chart blue, right? So it is now created, and I'm going to do some modification here if I navigate to my VS Code. So in this particular chart, I would like to update the values.yaml. So this is my public repo regarding Docker Hub, QuickBooks 20, QuickBooks 2018. Okay, this is the blue image, and I'm going to use the latest image, which I've already pushed that particular time. So guys, this this has been updated. So what I'm going to now do, I'm going to package this guy. All the commands I've already added here. So okay, so okay, let me add these particular commands. Seems to be missing, but I'm going to add the link of those particular cheat sheet for you guys. So guys, what I've done, I've added the link of this cheat sheet in this particular readme file. You can do that. So what we are going to do, we are going to use this particular command. I have already made videos with regard to the help. You can watch those particular videos, but I need to add this cheat sheet here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say Helm package blue. So if I do, as you see, this blue TGC is created, right? And if I navigate back to this area, I need to push this guy to my project, and my project name is, if I simply copy this guy and bring this guy here in my VS Code, you see. Okay, so press enter. So my project name I've already updated. So let's try to simply copy this guy and press Control V, and I'm going to simply paste this particular command here. So let's try to push this guy. Push has been done. So if I navigate back to this area and try to refresh it, so this is my remote, you can say, help repository. So how, although this is public, you can definitely make this area restricted. So as this is the demo, so this is the link of your Helm remote repository. So simply, if I navigate back to this area and if I paste it here, so let's try to paste this guy here. So you currently see nothing, but how we can check. So right. So if I navigate back to this section, so I've added command. So Helm remote repo. So I'm going to call this Helm um, repo. Name of my repo is my repo, and let's try to add this particular command. So I missed it. So just a second, please. So Helm. Okay. Uh, I missed the add. I think Helm repo add. Yep. So I need to add here. So you see, if I do Helm repo ls, so you'll see that my repo with this link is now available, right? And you see, this is the DevOps project. And if I do Helm search my repo, I should be able to see that particular package. If I have pushed to see, I'm able to see the version of that particular package, and this is the blue one, right? So simply you can do, I mean, pull your repo, and what it does once you add it, you can simply do pull if you don't have this TGs available, and you can install this way. So this is additional stuff anyway. This is not required. This is just for understanding. So I mean, let me show you this part. So the link of my repo is this one. So how we can add this Helm chart repo in Argo CD. So I've already shown you the recent stuff. So if I navigate to the cluster section, sorry, navigate to the settings. First of all, you need to add Helm repository, which we have already created, right? We are going to connect over HTTPS. So click this guy, HTTPS instead of Git. We are going to use Helm. Name of this, let's call this okay, blue. Let's call this blue. You can give any name, default, username, password. This is public. So let's try to connect with this guy. And you see, successful. Now the logo has been changed. Previously we used it in previous videos. Now we are using Helm. So let's try to create application. So and also one thing I need to show you, I'm going to add like new stuff. For instance, just assume that new version of your application is available. Let's try to say, update the version and update these particular command, and let's try to create the package again. So you see, now we have, two packages, the updated version. So I'm going to push the updated version uh, to my repository. So simply, I need to update this area here. So if I do push, so push has been done. And if I do navigate to my packages area, you see, just to update you, this is the new version of my application. You see 01.0011, right? And yep, that is pretty much it. So now navigate to Argo CD, navigate to new application. I'm going to call this application blue, um, right? So I'm going to use default project. Let's try to automate this one, right? And Chrome resources self-build 2. We have added multiple cluster. Now we have a choice to either deploy this on new cluster, right? So what we are going to do, I'm going to add this same Helm repo URL. Chart version, you see blue, but if you click this guy, you will be able to see the two versions, see 010 and 011. So let's try to use this one, and later on we are going to update this similar guy. So you see now we have these options. So I'm going to not deploy on this default cluster. I'm going to looking forward to deploy on this new cluster. Let's call the namespace is going to be blue, although the namespace in second cluster does not exist. So let me show you. Let's try to connect with second cluster. This is our second cluster. Currently, you see no namespace with blue is available. So I guess that is pretty much it. Let's try to create it. And what it does, it is going to deploy the 1.0 version of our application on the second cluster, which we have actually provided. So okay, so you see blue, it seems to be healthy. If I navigate back to this area, this is the cluster number 2. You see now blue namespace is available, and this is our application is deployed. So in the last, guys, I need to, for instance, I've updated my version through CI/CD, and I just looking forward to manually update this. Navigate to this application details, click edit. The new version, I'm looking to update here. This blue version, this new one is available. I'm going to click this guy, simply save it, right? And what it does, so navigate back to this area. So what it does, it is going to simply update new version of your application. So but definitely you need to make sure if I navigate to this section, click the sync option, synchronize, and let me scroll it down and bring this guy here and bring this guy. You see, the new version is going to be available for you guys. So although we don't have any change with regard to that, so that is how it is going to be done. And simply by default, it has a time interval of 3 minutes, or I guess around about 3 to 5 minutes. You can do manually by refreshing it, although we are using the same version, so no change. So anyway, if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe the channel. Have a nice day. Thank you. Interested, right? So let's begin. So if you navigate to my repository, this is the public repository. What I've done, I've added this directory here, ApplicationSets. So I'm going to start with example number 2 rather than example 1. Why I'm doing that, you will easily understand that. So in this example number 1, we are limited to deploy application on a single cluster. But if you're able to learn or understand what is mentioned in the example 2, you will easily learn how to set up multiple application environment in a single cluster and multiple clusters, right? So these are the 3 files and very much basic files, right? So if you navigate to this file and let me open this, okay, that is fine. Let me open this in another tab, and I'm going to navigate back to this image tag, and I'm back to this shortly, right? So in the project.yaml, so we are setting up our custom project. The name of the project is going to be Argo CD example 2, right? Namespace is going to be Argo CD. if you deploy, I mean, if you destroy application from Argo CD, it's going to destroy resources from your Kubernetes cluster as well. So you need to just make sure that if you want to comment this or uncomment this, it's totally up to you. I mean, and this is the way usually the modern setups are done to make sure um, everything can be destroyed and it can be created through GitHub approach. So that's why this feature is available, right? So this is during this demo project you can pose anything. So source repos, I'm adding star and namespace star. So server is going to be star, name star. So because we are going to use a variables and we are going to loop through variables in the other file. So I'm going to show you, right? So let's navigate to this. Okay, so navigate to this second one, right? Here we are actually creating the secret for, but this is the public repo, right? So we don't need to have a secret, but I added the links of the official documentation. For instance, if you're using private repos and you want to access those private repos through HTTPS, you can simply use this particular example. Official links is already available, and also added in the README MD, this link is available, right? So navigate to the last part, which is the application set, right? So simply what we are going to create here, the name of the application is foo, namespace is Argo CD, so it is going to be same, but the actual application namespace is going to be different according to their requirements, right? So here is the spec list, I mean generator list. So we have till now, I guess, in today's date, we have 8 types of you can see the details from the official documentation, but we are using the simplest application, I mean, simple example here, but very powerful to deploy quickly all the infrastructure in a quick way, right? So, for instance, we have dev environment, right? I mean, this is the variable which we are going to later use below in the template, right? So this is the variable, right? So I'm calling this dev here. Namespace is going to be dev, which is our application, right? So cluster is going to be dev cluster. So dev cluster here, I mean, I already shown that in my previous video, I've shown you how to add cluster. So I've already added 2 cluster in my, I mean, one is default and added one more additional cluster. So if you navigate to this cluster section, you will see the URLs of these clusters, right? So this one is the cluster, and the cluster is the default cluster, right? So okay, and if I navigate to this section, I want FluDev to deploy on this particular cluster, not in this cluster. So I'm easily telling this. So URL is also a variable, and we are going to loop through in the below template, right? So cluster, I'm going to let's say I'm going to call this, I mean, dev cluster. So then okay, then the next variable env staging, right? So this is the different environment. Namespace is going to be foo. Staging cluster is going to be in cluster. So if you navigate to this section, in cluster is this URL. So I want to deploy this application on the same default cluster, right? So it is totally depends on you. You can simply add the same URL here and here. So your application is going to be deployed on that same particular cluster. So this is the flexibility we are adding here, right? So where we want our application to deploy, right? And later on, I'm going to show you. So this is, understanding you will get. In the last, we have prod environment namespace is going to be foo dash prod. Cluster, I'm giving this random name, but the URL is exactly the same as this one. So I want to deploy our prod application on this particular cluster. You can add multiple cluster and provide the URL. That is it, right? So if you navigate to the template section, you see name at foo dash env. So foo dash env is a variable which is going to loop through these values, right? So, and resource finalizer, I've already told you what it is, right? So project name is this one, Argo CD example 2, and repo URL. This is the repo URL. This is the same URL. We have a directory here with the name apps charts slash foo. If you navigate to this section, we have a directory apps charts and foo. In foo, we have Helm charts with these values. So that values are different. I made it intentionally different, right? Broad values are different, staging values are different in a way that, for instance, we navigate to the dev values. So I've added different images, repositories, like this is the different repository, not Docker Hub, and this is the tag I'm going to use. This is public repo, GitLab public repo, right? So this is what we have in dev. In prod, we have, you see, QuickBooks 2018 slash pre and latest. So this is the Docker Hub repo for prod. And in the last, we have staging values.yaml. So QuickBooks 2018 slash blue, different application, all three applications. I mean, the images are okay, now we get back to this Helm chart. So this is our Helm application Helm chart, and we have 3 different environments, right? So okay, so it is going to navigate to this directory, look for this values.yaml file, and it is going to loop through this env. So we have this env dev, we have dev, dash values.yml. So we have dev dash values.yml, right? So we have this staging dash values.yml, staging dash values.yml, right? So we have env prod, we have prod dash values.yml. So it is going to loop through these values, and according to the environment, it is going to deploy the application according to their cluster. So URL is also a variable. You see, regarding the URL in server, I've added URL. So URL is going to be, for instance, prod URL is going to be this one. Staging URL is going to be this one in cluster, right? I've added the URL, and dev cluster is going to be this remote cluster or whatever I added, right? So namespace is gonna be is also a variable. If you see, navigate to the namespace for dev, the namespace name is going to be foo dash dev, and for staging is going to be foo staging, right? And for prod is foo prod. So hopefully you get the understanding regarding the automation. I've added these values, for instance, sync policy automated true, prune true, self heal true, self heal true, and create namespace true, right? So it is going to create namespace if it is not there. So I've already done the testing. So let me do one thing, for instance, regarding the namespace. If I navigate to the namespace section, so what I'm going to do, okay, this is the application we have. So simply type foo here, right? And select all these and get rid of these namespaces. This is my cluster, cluster number one, right? And it is terminating. So I'm going to navigate back to this cluster number two and navigate to this namespace section. Type foo here, and I'm going to get rid of these values. You see, foo dev prod are already set up in uh, plus number two. All right. So, but we have done all the changes. So let's try to deploy this application. Hopefully you get the understanding what we are actually currently doing. So I'm in the same directory, pwd, which is the example two, right? So regarding the example one, I've added less things. For instance, I've hard-coded the values. So I will show you shortly once this has been done. So kubectl apply -f, and I'm going to apply the resources here. So it has actually set up the first number one file, number two file, and number three file. So right? So if you navigate to this section, you see foo dev is created, and foo dev is, I've already shown you that um, like dev and prod, we have this one. So that's why we have only two namespace created in second cluster, right? And we will see the pods in this particular cluster. So if you navigate to this section, foo dev, you'll, okay, first of all, see the application is deployed or not. Navigate to the application, and we need to see the application. You see foo dev is set up, foo prod is set up, foo staging is set up. If you hover to this URL like destination, you see the destination, and if you see the destination is this one. But if you see the foo staging destination is in cluster. So that is how we loop through a cluster. And if I navigate back to this section, you see now we have our pod has been spin up, right? And if I want to check the image of this foo dev, and let me show you this part. So you see foo dev is the GitLab registry. Which I've already shown you guys, but definitely double check it. So what values we have provided here in the values.yml. So this is the 49 tag has been deployed, right? And now if I navigate to foo prod, click this guy, right? And if I scroll it down, the image is going to be, or it should be QuickBooks 2018, which is Docker Public Registry Clean. So if I navigate back, you see prod values of YAML. This is what we have set up in our prod values. And similarly, you see this is deployed on that particular cluster, which is cluster two. So we need, for staging, we need to back to this cluster one and navigate to this section, right? And back to pods, click this guy for staging, and you see this pod has been up. And the image tag is going to be, this is QuickBooks 2018, which is Docker Public Registry Blue latest. And in the last, we're going to see this staging. So we have this blue image. Hopefully you get the understanding, but the powerful thing is that you can have multiple environment setup of application on multiple cluster with a single slide, and that is how application sets are, right? And in the last, I just want to show you the example. For instance, you can narrow down to a single cluster with by simply providing the URLs, which I've already shown you. But if you want to navigate to the first example, let me navigate to the example number one. So here, what we have done, or I've done, is if you navigate to the project, this is going to be project number one if we set up. So I've hard coded the value or only restricted the values of server to only a single cluster. But I do recommend to go for this star value, right? And that is pretty much it. And what it does, it is going to deploy the stuff on a single cluster, but you already have a flexibility to set up in example number two that we have added the cluster and cluster URLs. So simply here, if you provide this URL, it is going to deploy all the stuff in the same cluster. And if you want multiple cluster deployment, with multiple environments. You can do that in a single file, and you can loop through these variables, and you can have might be like, 5, 6 environments or multiple cluster or single cluster. You can do that. That is it, guys. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe the channel. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.